Hi guys, so in this video again we're going to continue our discussion on strings, and as I mentioned, JavaScript strings have always had limited functionality compared to strings in other languages. For instance, until ES6 strings lacked the methods covered as so far in the chapter, and also the string concatenation is as simple as possible. To allow developers to solve more complex problems, ES6 template literals provide syntax for creating domain-specific languages, which is DSLs, for working with content in a safer way than the solution available by ES5 and earlier. Now, a DSL is a programming language designed for a specific narrow purpose as opposed to general purpose languages like JavaScript. In reality, template literals are nothing but ES6 answer to the features that probably lacked in JavaScript, and to name them, the first one was multi-line strings. And if you recollect, for people who are coming from my JavaScript course, I've explained how you can handle multi-line strings in JavaScript. But all of that can be done very easily using template literals. The other one is the basic string formatting. Now, the ability to substitute parts of the strings for values contained in variables. So we always had something like this in other languages, but never for JavaScript. The next one is HTML escaping. The ability to transform a string such that it's safe to insert into HTML. Rather than trying to add more functionality to JavaScript's already existing strings, template literals represents an entirely new approach on solving these problems. So let me show you the basic syntax so that we can move ahead with it. So at first, what is the template literals? Well, simple. Just the way you have strings in a double quote or a single quote, template literals are nothing but anything which is in a backtick. So as you can see, the backtick is probably on your before one. So the backtick is just before one. If I press it, you can see these are the backticks that you can see on the screen. So whenever you want to do something which is related to template literals, you will enclose it within the backticks. So let's start from here itself and let's write our hello world inside it. So hello world, and of course let's assign it to a variable. So variable message is equals to hello world. Now please note that I have enclosed this string in a backtick and not a single quote, not a double quote. Let's do a console.log and print the message onto the screen, just like we would do with any string. You can see it prints out hello string. Now let's say you do a type of this message. So type of message. In this scenario, you will get it as string. Let's say you do a message.length, and again it will give you the length as length. It should give you 11 or 12 actually, because there's an exclamation too. So this should give you a 12 size. So it is working exactly like what a variable would be. You store the value in a variable message, you can print the message, you can see the type of it, you can also see the length of it. Everything works just like a normal string. Now if you want to use a backtick in your string, then just escape it with a backslash. Let me show you that example as well. So let's say variable message, actually we can use the message itself. So let's say message is equals to, so now first is hello world. So this was my current string. Now let's say I want to add some more backticks to it. So what I would do is I will just put a backslash to it and then a backtick. So that will escape it out. And then of course I can put it in the hello as well, so that it shows you hello world onto the screen. Let's do a console.log message, and it should give you hello in the string. You can see hello has both backticks here and there. So this is the way you can escape out the message. And of course if you do both the other things, it will be string and the length would have gone to 14, because now you include two backticks as well. So let's see the next thing, which is multi-line strings. Now JavaScript developers have always wanted to create multi-line strings since the first version of JavaScript language. But when using double or single quotes, strings must be completely contained in a single line. So that was the problem that we always had. Now thanks to the long-standing syntax bug, JavaScript does have a workaround. You can create a multi-line string if there is a backslash before a new line. Let me show you an example. So we already had a message. Let's do a message is equals to multi-line, and then you can just give a backslash, and on the next one you can just say string. And let's try to do a console log of this message, and you can see it should give you multi-line string as one, even though you wanted to write in multiple lines. but this is a bug that was existing. That doesn't stop you. The message string has no space. If you can see the message out here, it doesn't have a new line. You do not see it on different lines. Well, the reason is because when it is printed on the console, the backslash is treated as a continuation rather than a new line. So in order to show the new line, you can use a slash n, which represents the new line. So let's say you want to do a slash n and again a slash. Now if you do the string, it will show you multi-line string on the 2 lines. You see that? This should print multi-line string on all the devices or probably wherever JavaScript runs. But however, the developers do not recommend this. The reason being, this could potentially be a bug that is allowing you to do it, but that's not how JavaScript intended to do it. Now let us see the multi-line effect when we have the backticks. So instead of multi-line string out here, what I will do is I will convert this double quotes to tick. And I'll remove the slash n slash everything. And let's try to print it out onto the screen. And now you can see the multi-line string gets printed out as you expected. And again, in this time, all you have given everything is in a backtick. And there's no extra slash, no extra space, no extra slash n. Everything is the same. And if you do a message dot length, let's copy this. And let's see what's the length. And the length is 17. So let's say if I give in a tab, that should increase by 2. If I give another tab, it should increase by 2 more. And so on and so forth. This should go to 23. So you can see the 2 spaces that I'm adding before it. It also moves the string length together. So that's how you can see how a multi-line string can be created using backticks. So one thing more to note is all the white space that I created by giving in the tabs, it is actually becoming a part of the string versus the outside thing, or probably cleared out as a code, because now anything in between the backticks is probably the string itself. So make sure you are very cognizant on what you put within the backticks. Now how about creating something which is using HTML tags? So this was our message. Now let's try to do something similar using our HTML. So let's say variable HTML is equals to a backtick. And now let's try to add some code here. So let's say I have a div, and then I can add, let's say h1 tag. Let's say hello, h1 tag closed slash div. So that's my HTML that I have. Now let's also add a trim method to the string, which is out here. Let me end it here. So let's use the trim method that we have in JavaScript. Now what this code is doing, so this code is nothing but it starts with the template literal on the first line, but it does nothing. And then from line 2 onwards, we start the div. Now the HTML tags are intended to look correct, and then the trim method is called to remove the initial empty line. Let me show you an example so what this will print out onto the screen. So let's do a console.log and say HTML. And as you can see, it prints out div h1 and the slash div, and the first line is gone because I added a trim to it. So that's how you can trim the line or content in the string using the trim method that you have. At this point, the template literals may look little fancier versions of normal JavaScript strings. The real difference between the two lies in the template literal substitution. Substitutions allow you to embed any valid JavaScript expression inside a template literal, and the output results as part of the string. Substitutions are delimited by an opening dollar and a curly brace and a closing curly brace. So anything that you put within them, that will be your substitution part. Let me show you a very simple example. So let's say we have a variable name is equals to Abhay. Let's say message is equals to, let's give the backtick, say hello, and now let's try to insert the name out here. The way we can do it is do a $sign and curly braces and put in the name variable out here. Let's do a console.log and say message onto the screen, and it should give you hello Abhay. Let's say I add one more Y out here on Abhay, it should give you hello Abhay. So you can directly embed the variables as long as they are evaluating to an expression inside the dollar and the bracket signs, and this will print out something onto the screen. And since all the substitutions are JavaScript expressions, you can substitute more than just the simple variable names. You can actually easily substitute calculations, function calls, and anything else that you can think about that results in an expression in between those dollar and the curly braces. Let's try to do an example and see how that can work too. So let's say I have a variable count is equals to 10. Let's say price is equals to 0.25. And let's say message is equals to, let's say backticks, and then a dollar, and let's put the count here. Now once we have the count, let's say items cost, let's put the dollar sign and one more dollar for a variable. Let's try to put in the count into price, and of course let's convert it to fixed, which means the decimal point should be fixed to 2 decimal. Let's try to see what this message will print out. Console.log message. As you can see, 10 items cost 2.50 because one item costs 0.25. That was easy, right? You can actually put in computations when you put in a multiplication in your substitution altogether. So you can put in anything that you want to put in. Another fancy thing about template literals is you can actually substitute template literals in template literals. Let me show you that example as well. So let's say you have a variable name is equals to Abhay. So that's my variable. Now I have a message equals to, let's put the backticks, hello, and then let's put the variable dollar curly braces. Inside that we can put in, and I just moved it to a new line, and then I will put in another tick or a string which is my name is dollar, and then let's put in the name out here. Okay, and let's put a period. Now let's do a console.log of message. So it should give you hello, my name is Abhay. What I've done is, this is string 1 which is hello, and then there's a variable. Inside that variable is another template string which is my name is Abhay, or the variable Abhay. So that's how you can have template strings in template literals inside template literals. So that was all about strings and template literals. And as again, if you have any questions, let me know in the Q&A section or in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next class.